On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks play better in Game 2, but still come up short. We'll tell you what went wrong for the Mavericks in Game 2 of the NBA Finals on today's Locked On Mavs.
Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. With the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, leave a 5-star review, like the video on YouTube, and comment anything below. If you're here to gloat, at least like the video, you know? Help out a content creator. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. It helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedinjobs.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And joining me, he's been as locked in as anybody can be. The post-game prodigy from the Slightly Biased YouTube channel. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
I'm sad. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a feeling of sadness that has taken hold of me. I don't know how much of that is I was at the lake this weekend, and now I come back to this disgusting city where it's 105 degrees every day. But
the weather is making it worse.
The weather is making it worse.
I had a good day. I had a lobster roll. I had some cannolis. Nice. I had some great stuff from a bakery, and then the Mavs lose this one, and we'll talk about how the Mavs came in this one and started off really well, I thought, in the first quarter. It was a good start for the Mavericks. They needed a good start. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about how their offense is, to me, the biggest thing in all this. And so we'll talk through everything and talk through how the Mavs lost this game. But I think we got to start here slightly. I mean, I heard here in the TD Garden, watching these two finals games, I heard Kyrie sucks, that chant, 100 times, 500 times, I mean, a million times. And they wanted to be louder in this game. Kyrie called them out and said, I thought it was going to be louder. He ends up, it was louder in this game. And to be honest, slightly, through two games, I'm not sure they're wrong.
I mean, he has sucked in the first two games. That much is true.
And that's the whole thing, is that he has not been good in these first two games. And so if you were thinking about, and I talked a lot about Kyrie in the the days between the first two games, but he has not stepped up in any way, shape, or form in this series at all. 7 of 18 from the field. That's under 40%. Just 16 points. Did have 6 assists. Only 2 turnovers. So that ratio got a little better. But still, you're looking at him going, man, you scored less points than P.J. Washington. P.J. Washington gave you a valiant effort, I thought, in this one. Missed a couple of threes, but you did not get what you need out of a Kyrie Irving to win a finals game. Like, to win a finals game, these guys both had to be really great. And Luka, went out there with, the extra injuries and all that and still put up a really great shooting game for a long time and then seemed to run out of gas towards the end of it. But Kyrie just did not come in with any kind of run that we've been used to. Kyrie, usually in the third quarter, fourth quarter, you can expect him to go on a run in one of those quarters. He did not. And to be honest, part of it is what you said, is Kyrie succumbing to all the pressure and all this. I also think the Celtics defense has been really great through two games.
Yeah, they've been good. I mean, it's similar to like what the Thunder were doing, where they're going to put a lengthier defender on Kyrie and make life as difficult for him as possible, and he has not been able to take advantage. And I also think Kyrie's just missed some shots that he normally hits. Like, it's not like he's settling for bad shot after bad shot. Like, he's literally just missing shots. He almost always hits. He's stumbling. He's slipping all over the floor. Like, it's just
there's a lot of slipping. There's a couple travels in this game that just seemed weird. There's been some slipping the last 2 days on this court.
Yeah, that's true. There was some weird slipping going on there, but I was gonna say, even that play when PJ got blocked, like I think typically we see Kyrie pull up a transition 3 there, like when he's on, like that's his shot.
His confidence is not.
It feels like he's gotten rattled, which is shocking.
So you look at how he has responded, especially how he responded to game 1 with the comment that I mentioned earlier. I thought it was going to be louder in here. You also, during the game, Grant Access posted a great video of Kyrie like egging on the crowd when they weren't cheering like Kyrie sucks as much. He was egging them on. And like, to me, if you're going to have games like this, and I'm going to question, all right, is the crowd getting to him? If that's a legitimate question, and then he comes out and like eggs them on and gives them more ammo and does all this. They put up Kyrie's quote on the video board before the game, and it got an incredible response. The Dave Portnoy guy from Barstool was sitting courtside, and he had the Kyrie shirt with a clown nose on, and they showed him on the video board, and he put his shirt up, and they left him on there for a good 10 seconds, 15 seconds or so, and this crowd just erupted. And Kyrie Irving, to me, is letting it get to him and letting himself try to embrace it in a weird way. But like, if you're going to do that, if you're going to egg the crowd on, if you're going to say, oh, I thought it was going to be louder, you got to come out and perform. And if he's not going to do that, then change the approach. Do something else, because it's just not working for him at all. His shots aren't going down. The defense of the Celtics has been great. I've given them credit for sure. But between the two, the crowd and the Celtics defense, Kyrie Irving has not had a okay game in two finals games so far.
No, and like going back to the Thunder series, because he didn't score much and he wasn't that efficient, but he did
other things,
racking up assists. Like, he was contributing to winning basketball in a lot of ways, and that has not been the case at all in the first two games of the series. Defensively, he's gotten torched, I think, anytime he's been involved in any action, it feels like. And it sucks when you get to this point, because it's obviously the Mavericks are nowhere near this spot without Kyrie Irving, and he's been so great and awesome. But you got to call it out when we get to this point, and we're talking about an NBA Finals game. And the Mavericks are down 2-0, and I would say, if you had to pinpoint one particular reason as the biggest reason right now, I would have to say it's Kyrie Irving's performance, because there's such a talent disparity between like the 3 through 8 guys in the rotation.
Yes, huge, absolutely massive.
That you need your 2 stars to be that much better than the Celtics' 2 stars. And Luka has played well so far. He's has some stuff he has to clean up, but he's played really well. And Kyrie's just, I don't know, been like the 8th best player in the series.
How about the rankings we talked about before the series? We're like, hey, what if Kyrie? We talked about a bunch of what ifs. So we said, what if Kyrie is the 2nd best player in the series behind Luka? And you've gotten 2 subpar Tatum games, or terrible shooting Tatum game. This one had 12 assists, but you got a really bad shooting game from Tatum and from the Celtics. And Kyrie, there's a gap there. Like, there was a vacuum for him to step up into that and to maybe even fulfill that ranking. But man, I mean, he's not been better than Jrue. Jrue Holiday was better than him in this game, and he's asked to do different things. And that's sort of the difference between this Mavericks team and the Celtics team. The things that they ask their 2 stars to do, the Celtics stars don't have to do those things. The Celtics stars don't have to create everything. The Celtics stars don't have to just beat their man one-on-one all the time, and that's it. And like, that's the only thing that they ask. They don't have to have 30 points, or else their team is absolutely going to lose. Tatum is 18 on 6 of 22 shooting. They win the game. I mean, if that happens for the Mavericks, like, they don't win these games. No. Case in point, what Luka just had. And so the talent disparity, you mentioned it. I think the defensive discipline of the Celtics has been excellent and has been really good. And I did not watching the Pacers series and some of those other series where like Andrew Nembhard is having his way, TJ McConnell is having his way at times. I underestimated what the Celtics defense could do, and now through 2 games, they either turned it on completely and all of a sudden we're like, hey, let's lock in now and let's actually play in this, or Andrew Nembhard may be better than Kyrie. I mean, those are my only 2 options when it comes to that.
I mean, the first 2 games Andrew Nembhard played better than Kyrie Irving did, so that's really it. I mean, obviously Andrew Nembhard's not anywhere near as good of a player as Kyrie, but the first 2 games he's better.
Is there something there? There's something to do that. It's a trade for Andrew Nembhard, I guess. I think that the Celtics team just has taken another step up, and they have been ready for this moment. They've had guys that have been there, and that's the reason why they're in this position. The Mavs have a compromise. They have 2. Honestly, the Mavericks have 2 compromised superstars: Luka with the injuries, and we'll talk about him in a second, and then Kyrie with the mental and emotional work, like the mental and emotional work that he's spending to think about this crowd, to egg them on, to comment on it after the game, and all that. Like, it is just, he has not been the same player. And we've seen this in, like you said, we've seen this in the Thunder series, but he's not finding other ways to contribute and making dumb mistakes. The turnover he had at the end of the game with 2:21 left. I mean, that's the prime example of, well, how can you say that the crowd is getting to Kyrie? It's stuff like that. It's mistakes like that where he just turns the ball over without anybody. I mean, Derek White was in front of him, but not even like Derek White didn't even like swipe for the ball that hard. Kyrie turned the ball over, missing open shots like you mentioned. It's not the Kyrie that we've seen.
Bad fouls.
Terrible fouls in this game. and they've got to have Kyrie at least show up and participate if they are expected to win any of these games, really. And through 2 games, he has not. And to me, that's the biggest thing for the Mavs over 2 games is now Kyrie. So coming up, let's talk about Luka. Let's talk about how he had an incredible first half, came out of the gate swinging, and then slowed as the game went on. Found his passing, found some extra playmaking. But what happened with Luka? We'll talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. eBay Motors has you covered for all kinds of parts that you need for your car. Passion, drive, patience, the formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle, level it up to peak performance, including superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts to choose from for your number one ride or die. You'll find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, you know that part is going to fit your car no matter what, the first time, because you're burning rubber and not cash with eBay Motors. With all the parts with the prices that you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. eBay exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show, especially after a loss. And yes, we do appreciate the Celtics fans, too. Welcome. Welcome. We've been complimentary of your team, so shut up. All right, Slightly. Let's talk about Luka Doncic, because we talked about Kyrie. We've given him the blame, the criticism that has been needed. Luka comes out, and I thought it looked like we were going to get a classic Luka 40-piece, 50-piece. There were Celtics fans asking John Corrales, the host of Locked On Celtics, if Luka scores 50, can the Celtics still win? I mean, those are the questions being asked in the first half. And Luka, he had 20 points in the first 14 minutes of the game. Finishes with 32, has 11 rebounds, 11 assists, 8 turnovers, 4 steals, though, got it back 4 times. Shot the ball really well, but missed 4 free throws. Before the game, he was downgraded from probable. He's been on the injury list for every single game in the playoffs. He's had a left knee sprain. He's had a right knee sprain, a left ankle issue. He's had all kinds of leg things at the end of the season. And so we've been monitoring that. And then he has a chest contusion, essentially, where it can, there was a video posted after practice where he was like holding his chest, and people were like, oh, why is Luka always whining about injuries? And then it showed up in the injury report. He was downgraded from probable to questionable. And so it didn't seem like he had any burst, which we've seen moments in this playoffs where Luka doesn't have any burst, can't get by anybody. But this one especially, I mean, it's only step backs, it's only these fadeaways, and he was dealing to begin the game. And then it just felt like he slowed as the game went on slightly.
Yeah, I mean, the scoring was great. The tough shot making. I did think that he forced the Celtics to blink just a tiny bit. It feels like they ramped up. I'd have to go back and watch how many times they doubled, but it does feel like they ramped up the amount of attention that they were sending towards him, and that's a big reason why he had 8 assists in the second half of this game alone, which, he had 1 assist all 48 minutes of game 1. So the passing was better for Luka. The thing I think that is a little bit more concerning to me is just defensively with how much he's getting hunted. Obviously, he's not a world-class defender anyways, but he's a passable defender. But with all these injuries and stuff mounting up, it's, there were times in the fourth quarter where it was good. Like when he absolutely has to for a singular possession, it can work. But I thought him getting beat on the perimeter as quickly as he did at times was a big reason why the Celtics offense kind of got into, the rhythm where they can kick the ball out and move the ball around and stuff. It's funny because the Celtics offensive rating in this game was awful again, but I don't think that matches the eye test really.
Missed a million threes.
They missed a million great looks from 3. Like I think that their offense looked pretty good. So that's really the thing with Luka that bothers. I mean, the shots, he's reached a point with the knee that he's figured out his release and how he has to alter his mechanics and stuff like that. But the defense is what is more concerning to me with the injuries for him and what it means.
Yeah, because they are making him work, and they can move the ball around, and they can attack from literally every position, including Al Horford at times. They didn't really in this game, but, I mean, he can. And so when you have that, I mean, Luka, he's compromised, and he is, and he's been, and it's like I said at the beginning, they have 2 compromised stars right now. Luka with the injuries, Kyrie with the, the emotions of the game and the defense of the Celtics, I think. And Luka was great and found another way. That was one of my things for Luka coming into this game is he's just got to find another way to attack the Celtics defense. He hit a bunch of fadeaways and like you said, made them blink. It was the second quarter. At 3:42, they started to double him, and Derrick Jones Jr. missed a three. Then they got an alley-oop from that afterwards. They doubled him throughout the rest of that, and they doubled him a couple more times in the third quarter. Then they had to stop because the Mavs were successful in it. Derek Lively got that dunk that was just wide open in the lane where he dunked over Derek White. They got that because of a double team. So there was some stuff that they got out of that. But yeah, the Mavs just never could go on a run. They never could. There was no kind of scoring run. As soon as it got to a 10-point game, I was like, the way the Mavs are not scoring right now and still going through scoring droughts like they had in the first quarter. The Celtics defense it's the Celtics defense plus Kyrie, which whatever you want to chalk that up to. Between the two of those elements, the Mavs just could not go on a run. And that was the game by the time that they got it 10 in the fourth quarter.
It was such a weird feeling game because it was like a 7-point game in the fourth quarter. And it's like, this is a nothing lead in the NBA. Like, this can be gone in 30 seconds. But like you said, the pace of the game, the rhythm of the game, the direction of the game, it felt like a 17-point lead. Like, it just felt like they couldn't either string together enough stops in a row at any given time, or, and this was the main culprit, couldn't have a 3 or 4 possession stretch where they scored on every single possession.
Yeah.
And it's, missed free throws, missed threes, dumb turnovers. Some of it, obviously most of it is great Celtics defense, but man, it's just felt like they left so many opportunities out there tonight, which is just a killer when the margins are so thin for you in a series like this. And the Celtics go 10 of 39 from 3 at home. You have to win that game. You have to win that game.
Yes.
If you are serious about winning the series, you have to walk out of Boston with a win in that game. And they just didn't.
Yeah, that's what Corrales is going to say on Locked On Celtics over and over again is that you got the bad Celtics shooting game and you didn't take advantage of it. And they didn't. One of the reasons why I was not confident in this Mavs team I was like, oh, they could make the West Finals, but I was not confident in them to say they will absolutely make the West Finals. They will make the finals. I wasn't confident because they didn't have that third scorer. I've been looking for it forever. And yes, Kyrie didn't have a good game. If Kyrie has a better game, then maybe this is all different. But you also need that other release valve. You need that one more guy that can just go get a bucket somehow, that can find his way. Jrue Holiday was that in this game. Porzingis was that in game 1 for the Celtics. Like, they have multiple options to do that. Tim Hardaway Jr. cannot be played. He cannot be played in this series, and has not played in the playoffs very much. Jaden Hardy is not ready for that. Dante Exum got the assignment and drove right into the tunnel on the first drive when he got that ball in transition. He just drove as fast as he could. Someone told him, "Hey, we need you to push the ball," and he took that. He took that like Forrest Gump and just ran through the stanchion basically. Like I mentioned, Hardy only got 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. They just tried him and threw him out there. PJ Washington was good at attacking closeouts, but that's not the thing that the Mavs need. They need one more, like, can get your own shot, can make the defense blink a little bit. And they just don't have that. And so because of that, that's why there's so much pressure on Luka and Kyrie to create so much. And if they don't have that, then both those guys have got to be really great. And we kind of glossed over Luka's turnovers. He had 8 turnovers, a lot of them just being stripped from behind too. The crowd is very loud, and teammates couldn't alert him or whatever. But he also, I felt like he was cavalier with the ball a couple times, where he's just like, he's putting forth so much effort to work through these injuries that it's really struggling. And then we've talked about and given credit to the Celtics, their help defenders, Jrue Holiday, Derek White. They can just run over and help off of a Derrick Jones Jr., help off of a Maxi Kleber, a Josh Green, and they don't even care about it because those guys aren't good enough offensive players for them to think about it again.
You did get 17 from PJ, so
he was good.
If that's your third score, I think you're okay with that. And the problem is that PJ Washington has now been thrusted to being the second best player for the Mavericks because Kyrie has just been completely and totally absent in the first couple of games. Like, that's really what, at the end of the day, it really kind of boils down to. It's like Kyrie can't be this bad. It's the difference between being like an average Kyrie game and being like bad. And it's been bad, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we started with that. That's the reason why they lost. But if they had that other another scorer like that, if Kyrie's bad, then all of a sudden it doesn't hurt as much. But like some kind of jump shooter or something. But
yeah,
they just don't have it. And PJ was great. We'll talk about PJ. Let's talk about some of the things that went well for the Mavericks in this, because they did play it was much closer, and they figured out some things, did some things that I thought were good. Let's talk about some of those coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs help you find the qualified candidate you want to talk to faster. It's not just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. So you've got a job. You're like, all right, I know that I need this role to be completed. LinkedIn also has launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process easier and quicker. So the job description can be written by LinkedIn. You've got all those billions of professionals that can be sorted through and figured out. And LinkedIn always is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. Hiring is easy when you have that many qualified candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. That's fast. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions, they do apply at linkedinjobs.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, Slightly, we're talking about Mavs Game 2 of the NBA Finals. They lose 105-98. They still hold the Celtics to 105 points, which I think their defense still was good. They had some moments, and the Celtics missed a ton of open threes. A lot of them contested in the first half. I thought the second half they missed more of them, and they ended up making just a couple in that fourth quarter, and that's what really got them on the little run to go. They made 4 threes. That was like a killer. 4 threes was just like the nail in the coffin for the Mavericks, which just seems so small. But yeah, PJ Washington I thought was a bright spot. We've talked about Kyrie, we've talked about Luka. PJ, though, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 2 on the offensive end, an assist. He really took the I need to attack Derek White thing. He took that and ran with it.
Yeah, PJ was great. He gets to that floater game. It's really a weapon. And I'm interested going into next season.
Yes. Don't start.
Well, no. I'm not doing it like off of like it's over. I'm doing it like if he has more of an offensive load, because he's still a young player. Like, it's not like he's
25,
34 years old. Like, he could continue to develop. There could be like something there with him upping his scoring production and just the things that he does for the Mavs offensively. Because there's definitely something there.
There absolutely is. Yeah, and he showed some good stuff in this game where he can attack and he can be a release valve a little bit when there's so much pressure and attention on Luka and Kyrie. He had some great moments in this one. Man, I thought Gafford had some good moments in this one too. He missed a couple of free throws, but they posted him up on Tatum a couple times in this game, and I thought that was really, really interesting because the Celtics have been putting Tatum on Gafford, and then to start the third quarter, they posted Gafford twice in a row on Tatum, and he got buckets against him. And you've got to find some kind of weakness in the Celtics defense. Tatum said it himself. The Celtics defense doesn't have any weak links. There's nobody to be hunted. And so you're like, all right, well, you got to find something. Tatum is actually the one to be hunted if you're going to put him on a center like that. And so Gafford did that. He made a couple of mistakes trying to dunk on Porzingis, which didn't work well for him at all. But he got 9 rebounds, 13 points. I thought he had some good things in this game.
Yeah, there was starting the second half, they posted him up 2 times in a row on Tatum. And I like that adjustment and going for that because they put Tatum on the centers in an effort to neutralize any pick and roll game, and it's worked, and he's done good at it. Kudos to Jayson Tatum. So, yeah, like you said, if that's going to be the thing the Celtics are doing, you have to punish that. And that's what they did with Gafford, letting Gafford go to work and posting up Tatum, who's a big player, but at the end of the day, size wins more often than not. So Gafford's just bigger and stronger.
And the size is what's cutting off the Mavs on these lobs. I had a couple people on the subtext text me and say, why are the Mavs not throwing it? Why is Luka not throwing the lob pass? Is he afraid to throw the lob pass? Well, the discipline of the Celtics defense, I think, has been really good on the rollers. They've really stuck a guy to him and not just allowed them to be open. The only times the Mavs got lobs, literally the one to Lively and the one to Derrick Jones Jr. is because the Celtics threw a double team. And the Mavs were like, "Oh, okay, we know how to play against this." And they threw the lob right to the rim. But
the Mavericks didn't just go into the series and say, "Guys, we're not dunking anymore."
We just decided not to. It's just not going to work out for us. We've done it all the way here. We're going to stop.
Our hands hurt.
Yeah, we've dunked too much, and the lotion is not in the basket. So. Other than that, man, do you take any more positives from a game like this? I think that the Celtics missing threes is just a concerning thing where you go, oh, this was the game
Yeah.
They were shooting like 18% from three up until like the final couple minutes of the fourth quarter. The Mavs just couldn't go on an offensive run. What they finished with 23 points in the second, 23 in the third, 24 in the fourth. That's just not going to get it done to score 98, under 100 again for this team.
I thought their defense in the first half looked pretty good. Like, it looked on point, and the Celtics shot terribly from three and missed some good ones. But for the most part, there were some difficult looks, kind of similar to that Thunder series where, all right, yeah, maybe that was you look at the 3-point numbers, and it doesn't really do the Mavs defense justice because you go back and you watch them, and they're, good contests, or, it's the players that you're comfortable shooting, or it's end of shot clock, kind of awkward, feet aren't set threes. But second half, I thought it deteriorated, and the looks the Celtics got were just continuously looking better and better and better, and they still didn't make them. Like you said, they made. In the second half, they were 7 of 24 from three, so 29%. But those 3-point numbers, we talked about this, when the Celtics bomb threes, it's a good thing for them. In the first half, they had 15 threes, which is, I think, a low number for them. And in the second half, that jumped all the way up to 24. Well over half of their shots in the second half for threes. So they started to generate those looks that they want. And yeah, I said it earlier, and it's just the truth. Like, if you're serious about winning the series, this absolutely has to be a game you win. Like, you cannot lose the game where the Celtics are 13 of whatever from three. 10 of 39. I'm sorry. I gave them too many threes. That's how bad it was. So that's just that's a toughie. Nick is frozen on my screen, so I'm going to continue to try and power through this, despite the fact that, it's a little bit sad and depressing. But, here's the thing. I don't even know if Nick can hear me. Here's the thing. In the Phoenix Suns series, the Mavericks looked completely and totally outclassed in the first two games of the series, and then obviously turned it around. So it's not impossible, but this is obviously a much better Boston Celtics team than the Phoenix Suns were. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But if they come out and win on Wednesday, game 3, it's different. There's an adage that the series doesn't start until the road team wins. Well, the road team hasn't won yet. So there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, you really did. And there was one small thing I thought the Celtics did that I noticed throughout this game is that on drives, they sent a smaller player, a Jrue Holiday or a Derek White, mostly just those two guys, to the dunker spot. And Derek White got a couple of jumpers out of that. Jrue Holiday got 6 shots right at the rim, like literally right at the rim because of it. So it's just a little small thing where they still keep their spacing. They keep the bigs out, but then they also have their smalls under the rim. So Jrue Holiday's man or Derek White's man ends up being the low man to come over and help. Like, I thought that was a little wrinkle that they added and did in this game that gave them some extra easy possessions. Tatum's playmaking, out of that, gave him a lot of buckets too. And so I thought that was a good move that the Celtics changed. And the Mavs, man, they gave up 8 free throws missed. There's just free throws missed all over the place. Luka missed 4. Josh missed 1 on that and 1 3 that he took at the end of that quarter. Gafford missed 3. Just tough. You just got to get some of those easy ones. The Mavs also aren't getting any transition buckets either. Luka tried one heave pass to Lively. I think he kind of overthrew him on that one, at least from my vantage point. And man, just, the Celtics just taking away some of the things that the Mavs do for scoring. And so if you take away all those things, the transition, which gets taken away in the playoffs, the lobs to the rim, you start taking those things that you can't play Tim Hardaway. You start taking away the scoring attempts. It's got to be Luka and Kyrie. I just keep coming back to that. Kyrie wasn't good enough. Luka was good enough to start and then slowed down as it went. Yeah,
and the Celtics defense is just smothering. They're just smothering the Mavericks. So you absolutely have to get your superstars to do superstar things. It really boils down to that. The Mavs 12 spot up shots in game 1. That's such a low number. They got 16 in this game. So they're just not generating those looks, especially the way the Celtics are. And right now that's a math game you're just getting killed in. And that's a tough one because they shot poorly tonight, but they're not going to shoot poorly like that. Probably again in this series. If we just had to be honest.
Probably not.
So it's a toughie. It definitely is. The Mavs are going to have to dig deep here.
It's tough, but we've been here before where the Mavs had a 2-0 lead. Didn't they have a 2-0 lead in the finals in 2006? And we have had the Heat almost had a 2-0 lead against the Mavericks in 2011. But we've seen it before where a team gets a 2-0 lead Didn't the Suns have a 2-0 lead on the Mavs?
Yeah, I was saying that when you were gone. The Mavs not only were down 0-2 in that series, but it was similar where it was like after the first two games, it was just, oh my God, the Mavs got killed.
Nothing.
And it's just like, wow, this is not even close. So if you win game 3 at home, I just looked, you are the favorites in that game, which is a little bit surprising to me. But if you win that game at home, game 3, then, hey, you're right back in the series. And, a lot of people say the series doesn't start until the road team wins. Well, the road team hasn't won yet. So
there you go.
It feels rough right now, but it's not over until it's over.
Mavs have they're a 1.5 point favorite, which I'm not really surprised by that. When a team goes up 2-0, then usually the other team is favored. Like the Timberwolves were favored in the Mavs game 3 on that one. And that was in Dallas. So that was a great moment. Can we just go back to that?
Plus, there might be some KP questions.
Yeah, there's some questions about him too. That changes a lot of what they do, and so, but yeah, those are the things. Those are some of the positives, but those are the reasons why the Mavs lost. Go listen to Slightly Biased on YouTube. I've got more stuff coming on Locked On Sports today. I'll be on Locked On NBA today. I'll do some more episodes on Locked On Mavs. I'm going home tomorrow. I'm excited to see my dog.
Yay!
To be back in my own bed. But yeah, we should be having a live show at the Four Corners Brewery. So come hang out with me and Slightly.
Bleacher Report too. Man, we're gonna be talking about this game nonstop.
This is what I'm saying. We literally got on. I go, man, I have to talk about this game 100 times over the next 2 days. Blessed beyond reproach, Slightly.
That's true.
But yeah, come join us at Four Corners Brewery on Tuesday, day before Game 3. Therapy session. Maybe we sit in a circle and we just talk about the things that we're feeling. Maybe should we bring a feeling stick? Like, should we bring like a stick that we can give? Like,
yeah,
you can
works.
talk. The talking stick. Like, you get it now. Now you get it. We'll all have a therapy vent session. So
we could definitely do that.
There you go, guys. Thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs. We'll be back tomorrow. More with tomorrow. We'll have more post games throughout the finals, guys. Thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.
We'll be